Hello. Today I'm excited to talk to you about supporting military students in Delaware. First, I'm going to give you background information on military students and why I decided on this inquiry question. Then I will summarize the data from a survey of military families in Delaware that I conducted. And finally, I will give you my recommendations for how schools and educators can support military students in Delaware. My name is Danyel Burgett, and I'm an educator as well as a military spouse of 20 years with 3 children. My husband is on active duty in the United States Air Force. I have been an educator and administrator for 15 years. I lived in Germany from 2011 to 2019, where I was the principal of a private elementary and middle school that exclusively served American and NATO military children and their families. I am currently a digital communications teacher at Dover High School. During my time as principal, I hired many teachers. Most of them were military spouses as well because we were all in Germany, but a few of them were civilian Americans that had never experienced military life or culture. These teachers would say things to me like, "These poor military kids, they have so many gaps in their education and their parents are always gone. They are so messed up. They have no family here to support them, and I feel really bad for them." Well, as a mom to 3 military children and the principal of a school with all military students, comments like that from teachers would really upset me. I decided that I would advocate for military students and families to help educators understand their very unique culture and life experiences as military kids. It is very important that educators are culturally responsive to military children because there are currently 2 million military-connected students in America, and 80% of them attend public schools. Military-connected students move an average of 6 to 9 times during their K-12 education. Before I started this problem of practice, a principal in Delaware told me that a move is just a move. It doesn't matter if you're a military kid. Well, take a look at this slide. One change of duty station for a military child equals all of the following. I wholeheartedly disagree with that principle. If you move from Dover to Camden after living here your whole life, it's not the same as moving from Germany to Delaware after you've already moved 6 times before to 4 different states and 2 different countries before you ended up here in Delaware. Not only do military students move every 2 to 3 years to a new school, they experience constant transitions. Military members deploy to other countries, while their spouses and children are left at whatever duty station they find themselves at, with no family or friends close by to support them. My husband is currently deployed until 2021 to the Middle East. This is his 10th deployment in his 20-year Air Force career, which means he has spent a cumulative total of 5 years away from our family on deployments. He's missed many birthdays, holidays, graduations, and entire school years without our family. So why should military children matter to you? Delaware has 2 military bases, and there are currently 4,000 military-connected students in Delaware. Dover Air Force Base has 2 public schools serving military students. The feeder high school for the base schools is Caesar Rodney High School in Camden. These are the school districts and charter schools that military students attend in Delaware. Caesar Rodney has the highest percentage of military students because the 2 schools on the military base are included in the Caesar Rodney School District. Looking at this slide, are you surprised at this data? And do you see your district on this list? I found some very interesting things about this slide, like 18% at Caesar Rodney and only 2% at Capital. They're right next to each other. When my family moved to Delaware, we experienced a few unnecessary barriers, some frustrations, and a lack of transition support when registering our children for school. I wondered if we were the only military family that had this kind of experience when moving to Delaware. So I decided to send out a survey and collect data to answer the question, how can schools and educators effectively support military students and their families in Delaware? I sent out a survey to military families in the Dover Air Force Base area. The survey questions were designed to find out what barriers military families faced, what things were working for them, and how they thought schools and educators could support them. 25 military families responded to my survey, but they were not required to answer every question. According to the survey data, these are the schools that the military students attended. Most of the respondents moved to Delaware in the last 3 years, with the majority in 2019. Students represented in the data ranged from pre-K to 12th grade. According to the survey results, military families reported that Delaware schools were extremely supportive, but some families faced barriers when registering for school. Survey respondents reported that most Delaware schools do not have any military-specific information or military point of contact that could help them with registration. At some schools, the front office staff were amazing, and at other schools, the front office staff created unnecessary barriers that kept students out of school longer than they needed to be. Families encountered some very lengthy registration processes and difficulties with medical records. Some students were even required to be tested to decide their proper grade level instead of accepting the sending school's grade level placement. Parents had reported difficulty with IEPs and schools not accepting honors placement. Many parents were not aware of school choice, given the wrong information about school choice, or missed the deadline and were not able to utilize it their first year in Delaware. Many parents also reported a lack of transition support services at their children's school, which means they are unaware of any military-specific clubs or programs for military students at the school that would connect them to other military students or support them during deployments and other times of military transitions, with the exception of the schools on base. So, what's working for military families in Delaware? Survey respondents reported that most Delaware schools were supportive and welcoming, especially the schools on base, because they were familiar with military students' unique needs. Some schools had registration forms online, which helped registration move more quickly, but unfortunately, those online forms were not complete, and families still had to fill out more forms when registering in person. Families also liked the schools that had clear and concise registration forms with checklists and deadlines. The military parents reported that they really appreciated the school staff that used various forms of communication like text, emails, and phone calls, as well as being flexible when scheduling meeting times. Using research, the data from the survey, and the suggestions of local military families, the following are my recommendations for ways that Delaware can support military students and their families. I have identified 4 things schools can do to support military students and their families. First, become culturally responsive. Second, understand the MIC-3. Third, join MSEC. And fourth, become a Purple Star school. Educators must seek to understand military student culture. Being culturally responsive to military students begins with self-awareness. Educators must first evaluate their position on military issues so that political opinions and personal values do not affect the education, care, services, or support they provide to military students. We must understand more than just the visible culture of military students as well, which includes rank, military language and acronyms, and a strong sense of rules and regulations. We should be aware of military students' invisible culture, which includes self-expectations of honor and warrior ethos. The whole family serves to protect our country's freedom. The needs of the whole and the greater good are sacrificed over the needs of the individual. This includes family. Service first, family second. Family members face deployments, relocations, separations, and the anxiety of their service member being in harm's way, and the cycle of homecomings and readjustments. Military families have a deep sense of duty and self-sacrifice. They are resilient, but resilience is not an inborn trait. It is developed through many hardships and comebacks. Immersing yourself in military culture is as easy as doing things like going to the annual air show or requesting a tour of the base for your faculty and staff. You should also provide your staff with professional development that helps them understand military student culture. The Military Interstate Children's Compact Commission, called the MIC-3, eases interstate education transition challenges encountered by the children of active duty service members, such as enrollment eligibility, placement, and graduation. The compact deals with the challenges of military children and their frequent relocations. It allows for uniform treatment as military children transfer between schools. Delaware is one of the original 11 states to adopt the Interstate Compact in May 2008. It's very important for schools to understand the MIC-3 because it protects military students from experiencing unnecessary and unfair barriers to their education. The MIC-3 covers protection for military students' enrollment and eligibility when moving to a new school, which includes educational records, immunizations, and kindergarten and first grade entrance ages. The MIC-3 placement and attendance guidelines help military students with course and educational program placement, special education services, placement flexibility, and absences related to deployment activities. Lastly, the MIC-3 protects seniors that have to move to a new high school by waiving courses required for graduation if similar coursework has been completed. Flexibility in accepting state exit or end-of-course exams, national achievement tests, or alternative testing in lieu of testing requirements for graduation in the receiving state. It also allows a student to receive a diploma from the sending school instead of the receiving school. Another thing you can do to help military children in your schools is to join the Military Child Education Coalition, called MSEC. This is a nonprofit organization that solely exists to help military children thrive in the face of transition and separation. The mission at MSEC is dedicated to ensuring inclusive, quality educational experiences for all military-connected children affected by mobility, family separation, and transition. MSEC provides programs, services, and professional development to meet the needs of military students, parents, and professionals. While I was doing the research for this presentation, MSEC was conducting a 2020 survey on military kids. The survey asked many of the same questions that I had, and the results in the data aligned with the results I found as well. Please consider taking the time to read this report to learn more about military students and their families. You can find it on the MSEC webpage. And lastly, what you can do to help military kids in your school is to become a Purple Star school. A Purple Star school is a public or charter school that has committed to supporting the unique educational and social-emotional needs of military-connected children. MSEC, that you just learned about, is the national advocate for Purple Star schools. The common criteria for a school to earn the Purple Star designation is for the campus to identify and train a staff member as a campus military liaison who acts as a point of contact for military families. Schools must also have military student-led programs that help to create social connections for military students. Purple Star schools must also have a dedicated webpage for military families and engage their staff in relevant professional development that makes them aware of military children, their families, and their lifestyle. According to my survey data, the Purple Star school designation addresses many of the issues and barriers that military families encounter in Delaware. A school that holds the Purple Star school designation serves as an immediate support for military families by welcoming them even before they arrive in Delaware and signaling to them that Delaware schools strive to understand their unique needs. The Purple Star school designation is very new. As of today, only 10 states have Purple Star schools. Some of our schools are already providing military families the support criteria that the Purple Star school designation requires. So, we should make sure that these exemplar Delaware schools are recognized and that the military students and families in Delaware know that their schools support them. It would be an honor to have Purple Star schools in Delaware. In conclusion, schools and educators can support military students and their families by being culturally responsive, understanding the MIC-3, joining MSEC, and becoming a Purple Star school. The final slides will provide you with resources to support military students and their families. I would like to end my presentation with a short video that will show you why I am so passionate about advocating for military students and their families. She doesn't know what to do. Do you know which ones are dead? Yeah. I see him. Do you see him yet? Do you see him? Thank you for supporting the educational needs of military students and their families. We appreciate your support.